Hi, welcome to Anaprime Recap. You have been cursed and your whole body is covered in huge disgusting holes. We're again on the journey of horror through the tales of the Junji Ito collection anime. We will begin our journey today with the tale called House of Puppets. Kitawaki is a boy who lives traveling with his family all over Japan, as they put on puppet shows and live like nomads. He arrived at yet another school to spend a few days, and made a new friend named Kinuko. The girl asked Kitawaki to show her his family's puppets. As they watched the big amount of puppets inside the truck, Kinuko was uncomfortable with a very sinister puppet. That was the magician Jean-Pierre, the favorite of Kitawaki's brother. The boy scares Kinuko with the puppet and she slaps the thing. Well, after performing in town, it was time to leave. Kitawaki feels another friendship fading away. It was a very difficult life. His brother Yukihiko hated all that, living on the road. And he even jokes with Kitawaki saying that if their father got sick, none of this would happen. A short time later, his brother's words really did come true. Their father had to end the shows due to a serious illness. Observed by Jean-Pierre, Kitawaki's brother tells him one night that he believes the family is controlled by the puppets. That's because their father can't stop manipulating them. The father has an unconditional love for them, but the brother says that unlike his father, he will not be controlled. The next morning Yukihiko ran away. And 6 months later the father died. A few years passed and while Kitawaki was walking with his little sister, he met his old school friend Kinuko. The two began to have a relationship and one day, they found a red envelope in the mailbox, sent by Kitawaki's brother. Apparently he lived in that city and he invited his siblings to his new home. Upon arriving at the address, Kitawaki and Natsumi are greeted by Jean-Pierre. When he calls for his brother, the whole family arrives suspended by puppet strings. It's bizarre, they are hanging from the ceiling and the son is even asleep. At the dinner table Yukihiko explains that he became a businessman thanks to Jean-Pierre's help and that he got along very well with the puppet. But there really is something weird going on. Everything involves puppets in the house. Even the sleeping son dances with the dolls. The siblings continued to visit Yukihiko's house several times. But Kitawaki was suspicious of his brother's behavior and the look of those dolls. He questions Yukihiko if they were really trapped in the ceiling and asks who controlled them. His brother says he hired several employees to move them. Only for his movement, there were 5 employees. Now he was totally in control, as he always said, the puppets are in charge. Little sister Natsumi asks her older brother to let her become a ballerina too, and although Kitawaki doesn't like the idea, the girl attached herself to the ceiling cables with the help of her sister-in-law and began to dance non-stop. Kitawaki is furious and orders her to remove those strings. He tells his brother that those jokes aren't funny anymore. However, Natsumi doesn't want to leave there and says she's going to live with her other brother. The situation doesn't look good for Kitawaki, as he was in a relationship with Kinuko. One day the girl saw her boyfriend at his brother's house, talking to a girl. And actually, it was him trying to dodge the satanic puppets. Jealous of Kitawaki, she tried to enter the house and was surprised by Jean-Pierre, who approached her with a terrifying evil laugh. The situation got out of control. The dolls started screaming around Kitawaki, trying to kill him. He flees the room and finds his brother and family asking for help. They are all out of control. Jean-Pierre peeks out from behind the wall and controls the little boy to knock him out of his chair. The crazy puppet runs away and when our friend Kitawaki realizes, his girlfriend was dead and had been turned into a puppet by Jean-Pierre. The puppet jumps on top of him slashing with a knife. Even though he hits his arm, Kitawaki smashes him into the wall. With the total destruction of Jean-Pierre, the puppet simply fell motionless. He hears his sister screaming for help and when he gets there, his brother's family is dead. Everyone was turned into puppets. And there is the question, all this time they were just puppets? Kitawaki was in shock and will stay with that doubt forever. We will now go to the second tale called Shivers. The young Yuuji lives by watching through the window of his house some strange happenings in the backyard of his neighbor Rina. The girl seems to have a serious illness and almost never leaves the house. She is constantly screaming at her mother that she is being attacked by insects, something that Yuuji is very intrigued by. One day, he saw the girl very pale and her arms had several deep holes. Yuuji remembered at the time that when he was a child, his grandfather died at home and had the same strange holes all over his body. That memory stuck in his mind. He talks to his friend Hideo and says his family has always denied that his grandfather died that way. They say it was just his imagination and Hideo really thinks his friend is just paranoid. Back at his house, Yuuji was visited again by his friend who arrived with interesting information. He said that his mother knew the story of the girl Rina. When she was born, she didn't breathe, everyone thought she was dead. But surprisingly the girl survived. As the days progressed, her body began to get all holy, as if she breathed for them. Well, as the boys were in Yuuji's grandfather's old room, they found a diary of his and decided to read it to find some clues about his death. The grandfather reports that he found a jade insect statue. The stone was so perfect that he kept watching it, but he reports that he started to feel chills and strange holes appeared in his skin over the days. A few days later, a mysterious doctor that nobody called showed up and gave him a green injection, and then the holes grew absurdly. The most bizarre thing comes now. A swarm of insects came through the window, which were very similar to jade. They went into the old man's body holes, who could feel them walking inside of him. The evolution of the curse was terrible, he was completely out of strength. He knew that jade was responsible for this curse and decided to throw it through the window, so that no one could touch it. With this information, Yuuji understood that Rina was certainly affected by the stone's curse. The two were able to see the girl in her window again, and a doctor who appeared in the backyard heading towards her. This is a mystery. Yuuji starts to connect the facts. That doctor looked the same as when his grandfather was sick. And if the cursed jade is in the girl's house, she could be in danger. That same night, someone sneaked into the backyard of the houses and found that jade. But who would that be? Yuuji was studying at home, and with the strong storm outside caused by a typhoon, the power went out. Yuuji hears a noise at the window. When he opens it, a man covered in holes appears, and his appearance is terrible. He screams for Yuuji to help him. It was his friend, Hideo. He was the mysterious person who found the jade. He saw that day Rina pointing to the garden where the jewel was. Hideo didn't believe in the curse, he just wanted the stone to sell. The doctor is following him non-stop, as the stone bearer will be followed and killed. Hideo tries to escape the man, but his dead body was found the next day. The most curious thing is that Rina healed overnight, she was healthy and happy. Revealing an interesting theory, if we pass the jade to someone else, we can get rid of the cursed holes. Who is going to be the next victim? So, what did you think of this anime? Leave it in the comments below. And if you liked the video, like it and subscribe for more animes. See you next time.